Amelia Earhart, the trailblazing aviator who disappeared in 1937, Amelia Earhart, the pioneering aviator and aviation icon, vanished mysteriously in 1937 during her ambitious attempt to circumnavigate the globe. With only 7,000 miles remaining on her journey, Amelia and her navigator Fred Noonan disappeared without a trace over the vast Pacific Ocean. Despite numerous extensive search missions and countless theories over the decades, her fate remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. What really happened during Amelia Earhart's final flight? Watch until the end to uncover the latest discoveries and developments in this enduring aviation mystery. Early life of Amelia Earhart, from Kansas to the skies born. On July 24, 1897, in Atchison, Kansas, Amelia Mary Earhart was the daughter of Edwin and Amy Earhart. Despite the family's early hardships, including the loss of an older sibling, Amelia grew into a vibrant and adventurous spirit. Raised in the home of her grandfather Alfred Otis, a respected judge, Amelia's childhood was anything but ordinary. Otis disapproved of her parents' marriage, yet Amelia's free-spirited nature flourished. She and her younger sister Grace, nicknamed Pidge, were inseparable partners in adventure, often exploring the outdoors and defying societal norms by wearing bloomers instead of dresses. Amelia Earhart's first encounter with flight. Amelia's fascination with aviation was sparked early. In 1907, inspired by a roller coaster, she and her uncle built a homemade ramp on their tool shed roof. Her first flight ended in a crash, but ignited her passion for flying. In 1913, at a state fair in Des Moines, Iowa, Amelia saw her first airplane, although initially more interested in the merry-go-round than the rusty biplane. However, life had planted the seeds for her future aviation career. Overcoming adversity, education, war, and early aviation interest despite family struggles due to her father's alcoholism and financial instability, Amelia remained determined. After moving to Chicago, she attended Hyde Park High School and graduated in 1916. Amelia dreamed of breaking barriers, keeping scrapbooks of women excelling in male-dominated fields. Though she didn't finish college, Amelia volunteered as a nurse's aide in Toronto during World War I. She was inspired by stories of pilots and soldiers, fueling her desire to fly. The defining moment, Amelia's flight lessons in first plane A. The early 1920s, Amelia's life changed at a Toronto air show, where she witnessed a pilot's daring dive. This experience, coupled with a transformative passenger flight in California in 1920, convinced her she was destined for aviation. Amelia took flying lessons from pioneering female aviator Netta Snook, funding her lessons through various jobs. In 1921, she purchased her first plane, a bright yellow Kenner Airster. She named the Canary. Her first solo flight marked a significant milestone in her career. Amelia Earhart's early achievements in aviation. In October 22, 1922, Amelia set a world altitude record by flying to 14,000 feet. The following year, she became the 16th woman in the United States to earn a pilot's license. From a curious child in Kansas to a pioneering aviator, Amelia Earhart's journey was fueled by her unyielding spirit and passion for the skies. Amelia Earhart, from financial struggles to aviation stardom, after a failed investment in a gypsum mine, Amelia Earhart's inheritance, once carefully managed by her mother, dwindled to nothing. To make ends meet, she was forced to sell her beloved Canary aircraft and a second Kenner Airster. Shifting gears, she bought a yellow Kissel Gold Bug two-seat automobile, which she named the Yellow Peril. This marked one of the lowest points in her life, worsened by recurring sinus problems that led to another unsuccessful surgery in 1924. Road trip and recovery. A journey across America with her aviation dreams on pause. Amelia and her recently divorced mother embarked on a transcontinental road trip across the western United States. The journey included a stop in Banff, Alberta, before ending in Boston, Massachusetts. It was there that Amelia underwent another sinus operation, which finally offered some relief. Although she briefly returned to Columbia University, financial difficulties forced her to drop out. With tuition now unaffordable, Amelia sought employment and found work first as a teacher and later as a social worker at Denison House, a Boston settlement house. Amelia Earhart's return to aviation, despite financial hardship. Amelia Earhart's passion for aviation never waned. She joined the American Aeronautical Society's Boston chapter and was soon elected vice president, flying out of Denison Airport in Quincy, Massachusetts. She even invested a small amount to help fund its operations. In 1927, Amelia made the first official flight out of Denison Airport. She also became a sales representative for Kiner Aircraft and contributed aviation articles to local newspapers, gradually building a public profile. At the same time, she began planning an organization for female aviators, a seed that would later blossom into the 1990s, breaking barriers. Amelia's transatlantic flight in the wake of Charles Lindbergh's historic solo Atlantic crossing in 1927. Socialite and aspiring pilot Amy Gast wanted to sponsor a similar flight, but with a woman on board, deeming the trip too risky for herself. She searched for the right female face to represent the mission. In April 1928, while at work, Amelia received a life-changing phone call. "Would you like to fly the Atlantic?" The opportunity came from Captain Hilton H. Rayleigh and was soon followed by interviews with publisher George P. Putnam and other project backers. Earhart was selected to join pilot Wilmer Stultz and co-pilot Louis Gordon on the transatlantic flight aboard the Fokker FVIIB 3 meters. Friendship. Though Amelia didn't pilot the plane, she served as flight log keeper during the 20-hour, 40-minute journey from Trefusi Harbor, Newfoundland, to Bury Port, Wales. She later humbly described her role. "Stultz did all the flying. I was just baggage like a sack of potatoes. Maybe someday I'll try it alone." Amelia Earhart becomes a global sensation upon landing. Amelia Earhart became an international celebrity. She was warmly welcomed in Southampton, England, on June 1928. She briefly flew an Avro, Avian 594 Avian 3, owned by Irish aviator Lady Mary Heath, and later purchased the aircraft, shipping it back to the U.S., returning to the U.S. on July 6, 1928. The crew was greeted with a ticker-tape parade in New York City and a White House reception with President Calvin Coolidge, her striking resemblance. 2. Charles Lindbergh led the press to nickname her Lady Lindy. She was soon hailed as the Queen of the Air. Public persona and media empire George Putnam carefully crafted Amelia's public image. She wrote a best-selling book, embarked on nationwide lecture tours, and endorsed products ranging from luggage to Lucky Strike cigarettes. While her cigarette endorsement stirred controversy, she used her earnings to support aviation causes, including a donation to Admiral Richard Byrd's South Pole expedition. Amelia didn't just lend her name to products, she designed her own fashion line and launched the popular Amelia Earhart luggage brand, reflecting her practical and adventurous spirit. Her business ventures helped fund her flying ambitions. She also became an associate editor for Cosmopolitan magazine, using her platform to promote aviation education and women's roles in flight, leadership in aviation, and advocacy for women in. She was appointed by Transcontinental Air Transport to promote air travel for women and played a key role in establishing the first regional shuttle service between New York and Washington, D.C. As vice president of National Airways, she also contributed to the development of several Northeast U.S. airlines. Her competitive spirit drove her to enter the 1929 Women's Air Derby, nicknamed the Powder Puff Derby by humorist Will Rogers. Amelia finished third in the heavy aircraft division, while fellow aviator Ruth Nichols withdrew due to injury. In 1930, Amelia became an official in the National Aeronautic Association, helping promote women's flight records and collaborating with the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale to establish global standards. In 1931, she set a world altitude record of 18,415 feet in a Pitcairn PCA to autogyro, proving once again her skill and determination. The 99s and breaking gender norms. Amelia Earhart played a pivotal role in forming the 99s, a professional organization for female pilots. After organizing an initial meeting in 1929, she was elected as the first president and became a powerful voice for women in aviation. In 1934, she protested the exclusion of women from the Bendix Trophy race, publicly refusing to participate. As a stand against gender discrimination in aviation, personal life, a progressive view on marriage. Amelia's personal life was as non-traditional as her career. After ending an engagement with chemical engineer Samuel Chapman in 1928, she grew close to George Putnam, who had recently divorced. Putnam proposed 6 times before Amelia finally agreed. The couple married on February 7, 1931, but not before Amelia made her intentions clear in a letter. I want you to understand, I shall not hold you to any medieval code of faithfulness to me, nor shall I consider myself bound to you similarly. She insisted on keeping her own name and described their union as a partnership with dual controls. A bold stance far ahead of its time. Amelia Earhart, The Final Flight, and The Mystery, that still captivates the world from endorsements to aviation excellence. Following her rise to fame, Amelia Earhart became a highly sought-after public figure, alongside her husband and manager George Putnam. She endorsed various brands including Autogyros and Beechnut chewing gum, leveraging her image to finance further aviation endeavors. Amelia also embraced family life, becoming a stepmother to Putnam's 2 sons. She grew especially close to David, the eldest, who often visited their home. The historic 1932 solo transatlantic flight on May 20, 1932. At just 34 years old, Amelia took off from Harbor Grace, Newfoundland, in her single-engine Lockheed Vega. 5B her goal, to become the first woman to fly solo non-stop across the Atlantic. Emulating Charles Lindbergh's earlier feat, prepared by her technical advisor, Bernd Balchen, opposed his planning his own Arctic expedition to avoid media attention. Amelia's flight was fraught with danger. She faced high winds, icy conditions, and mechanical issues. After 14 hours and 56 minutes, she landed in a pasture near Culmore, Northern Ireland. When asked, "Have you flown far?" she simply replied, "From America." This achievement earned her global acclaim, along with Distinguished Flying Cross from the U.S. Congress, Legion of Honor from France, Gold Medal from the National Geographic Society, presented by President Herbert Hoover, symbol of courage and women's empowerment. Fame skyrocketed. She formed friendships with powerful figures such as First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, with whom she shared a deep passion for women's rights. She also maintained a close relationship with fellow aviator Jacqueline Cochran. In 1935, Amelia continued breaking records. January 11, 1935. First solo flight from Honolulu, Hawaii to Oakland, California, dangerous Pacific route that had previously claimed lives. Later that year, she flew from Los Angeles to Mexico City, and then Mexico City to New York. Further proving her skill, she also competed in the 1935 Bendix Trophy race, finishing 5th, despite flying an older Lockheed Vega against newer, faster aircraft. Between 1930 and 1935, Amelia Earhart set 7 women's aviation speed and distance records, solidifying her place in aviation history. The Lockheed Electra and the dream to circle the globe. Realizing her Vega was no longer sufficient for ambitious missions, Amelia began planning her most daring journey yet, a circumnavigation of the globe close to the equator. In late 1934, a fire at their Rye, New York, home destroyed many of her personal belongings. Around the same time, Putnam sold his publishing business and accepted a new role at Paramount Pictures, prompting a move to Toluca Lake, California, near Hollywood's aviation community. Amelia, and stunt pilot Paul Mantz founded the Earhart-Mantz Flying School at Burbank Airport, and she joined Purdue University as a visiting faculty member, advising women on career paths and serving as a technical advisor in aeronautics. Thanks to Purdue's support, Amelia acquired the Lockheed Electra 10E, which she dubbed her flying laboratory, a twin-engine aircraft custom-fitted for long-distance travel. The final journey around the world, regionally. Amelia planned to fly with Captain Harry Manning and navigator Fred Noonan, but after a test flight exposed Manning's navigational error, Amelia and Putnam opted to move forward with only Fred Noonan, as an expert in aerial and marine navigation, with a background at Pan Am. First attempt. March 1937 route. Oakland gives Honolulu crew. Earhart, Noonan, Manning, and Mance disaster struck during takeoff from Luke Field in Hawaii. The Electra suffered a ground loop and was heavily damaged. The mission was aborted. Second attempt. June 1937. A west-to-east circumnavigation after securing more funding. Amelia and Noonan launched their second attempt this time, heading eastward. June 1, 1937, departed from Miami. Florida traveled through South America, Africa, India, and Southeast Asia, reached New Guinea on June 29, 1937. At this point, they had traveled 22,000 miles. With only 7,000 miles over the Pacific remaining, disappearance over the Pacific Ocean. July 2, 1937, Amelia and Noonan departed aiming for Howland Island, a tiny, isolated Pacific island. The USCGC Itasca, a Coast Guard cutter, was stationed near Howland to provide navigational support. 6:14 a.m., Amelia reported being 200 miles from Howland and requested assistance. 7:58 a.m., her final confirmed transmission stated, along a navigational line, but unable to locate the island after that. All contact was lost. The largest search in U.S. history, the official search began within an hour and covered thousands of square miles of ocean, but no trace of Amelia Earhart, Fred Noonan, or the Lockheed Electra was ever found. Theories and recent developments. 2024, over the decades, many theories have emerged. Crashed at sea theory. It ran out of fuel and crashed into the Pacific. Nakamaroro hypothesis. Earhart and Noonan landed on Nakamaroro Island and died there, captured by the Japanese, a less substantiated theory, suggesting they were taken as spies. 2024 breakthrough by Deep Sea Vision. In early 2024, Deep Sea Vision, an ocean exploration company, announced a possible breakthrough. Using sonar imaging, they discovered what appears to be an aircraft wreckage near Howland Island, submerged at a depth of 16,000 feet. The Kongsberg Discovery Huygen 6,000 drone scanned over 5,200 square miles of ocean floor. Footage shared on social media sparked global excitement. However, experts remain cautious. Dorothy Cochran, Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, supports the crashed at sea theory, but emphasizes that photographic confirmation is necessary. Richard Jantz, anthropologist who re-examined bones found on Nikumaroro, remains skeptical unless the wreck is proven to be the Electra. Richard Gillespie TR dismissed the sonar image, arguing it resembles a Navy fighter jet, not Amelia's aircraft. Amelia Earhart's enduring legacy. Even nearly 90 years after her disappearance, Amelia Earhart remains a symbol of courage, innovation, and determination. Her story continues to inspire generations of aviators, dreamers, trailblazers. Whether or not the newly discovered wreck turns out to be her Lockheed Electra 10E, one thing is certain. Amelia Earhart's legacy as a pioneering female aviator and fearless explorer will never fade.